He wasn't supposed to see her again, not after all these years. Not after what happened that night, the night that tore his world apart and left him raising a daughter on his own. But when the nurse pulled back the curtain in the hospital room and the doctor walked in, his heart stopped cold. The face he thought he'd buried in memory was standing right there, wearing a white coat, and tears in her eyes. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. The rain hadn't stopped for hours, and every drop sounded like a ticking clock against the windshield. Mark gripped the steering wheel tighter, glancing at the little girl beside him. Emma was only 8, but tonight, her small frame seemed even smaller, pale, trembling, her breathing uneven. Hang in there, sweetheart. We're almost there, he said, his voice breaking as he pressed harder on the gas. The hospital sign finally came into view, glowing faintly through the downpour. He burst through the emergency doors, clutching Emma in his arms. Please. Somebody help, he shouted. Nurses rushed to him immediately, laying Emma on a stretcher. What happened? One of them asked. She just fainted, Mark stammered. She's been sick for days. I thought it was just the flu, but then, sir, we'll take care of her, the nurse assured him, wheeling Emma away. Mark followed, his boots squeaking against the tile, his heart pounding so hard it hurt. He'd done everything he could as a father, 2 jobs, long nights, missed meals, but nothing terrified him like this helplessness. Watching his little girl lying motionless under the harsh white lights was a kind of pain words couldn't touch. He sat in the waiting room, staring blankly at the clock. Each second stretched like a lifetime. Memories of his late wife, Sarah, flickered in his mind, the laughter, the smell of her morning coffee, the way she used to braid Emma's hair before school. Then the accident. The phone call. The silence that followed. He promised her that day he'd protect Emma no matter what. That he'd never let her down. When the nurse finally returned, she said softly, "The doctor will speak with you soon." Mark stood, nerves tightening in his chest. The door opened. He turned, and froze. Standing there was the last person he ever thought he'd see again, Dr. Laura Hayes. She looked just as stunned. "Mark," she whispered. For a moment, neither spoke. The sterile air between them thickened with memories neither wanted to remember. Years ago, Laura had been Sarah's best friend, and the woman who had once loved Mark before fate tangled them all in a tragedy no one could escape. He swallowed hard. "What are you doing here?" "I work here," she said softly. "I'm the attending tonight. Emma's case, it came to me." He turned away, fists clenched. "Of course it did." Laura stepped closer, her voice trembling. "Mark, please. Whatever you think, what I know," he cut in, eyes burning, "is that the last time you were part of my family's life, it ended with Sarah in a grave." The words hit like daggers. Laura didn't defend herself. Instead, she lowered her gaze. "I'll do everything I can to save your daughter," she said quietly. "No matter what you think of me." And she walked away. Mark sank into a chair, his breath uneven. The past he'd run from was standing just beyond that door, fighting for the only thing that mattered to him. Hours passed. Every sound, every footstep down the hall felt like thunder in his ears. When Laura finally returned, her expression was serious, but her eyes held a softness he hadn't seen in years. "She's stable now," she said. "It was an infection that spread faster than expected, but we caught it in time. She's going to be okay." Mark's knees nearly gave out. Relief flooded through him like light breaking through clouds. "Thank you," he whispered, voice cracking. Laura smiled faintly. "You don't have to thank me. She's a strong girl, just like her mother." That broke him. Tears spilled before he could stop them. "I've tried so hard, Laura. I didn't know if I was enough." "You were," she said softly. "You always were." Later, as Emma slept peacefully in the hospital bed, Mark stood by the window, watching the dawn paint the sky in shades of gold and pink. Laura entered quietly. "She'll need a few days of rest, but she's out of danger," she said. He turned to her, the bitterness in his heart softening into something else, understanding, maybe even forgiveness. "I blamed you for a long time," he admitted. "But maybe I was just afraid to blame fate. Losing Sarah broke both of us." Laura's eyes shimmered. "She was my best friend, Mark. I never stopped feeling guilty." He nodded. "Then maybe it's time we both stopped punishing ourselves." She smiled, just a small, weary smile, but it felt like healing. Mark looked back at his daughter, her tiny hand curled around the blanket. "You gave me back my whole world tonight," he said. Laura shook her head. "No, Mark. She gave us a reason to remember that life doesn't just take, it gives second chances, too." For the first time in years, Mark believed it. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sun broke through, warm and gentle, bathing the hospital room in light, and for a man who thought he'd lost everything, that light felt like a beginning.